The monarch's silence. What if the man everyone thought was dying was only pretending? The high-security suite of Helios Medical Center throbbed with a quiet tension, interrupted only by the rhythmic beeping of life support machines. Dorian Blackwell, 45, was a self-made titan in green energy tech and one of the richest black entrepreneurs in the Western Hemisphere. For 19 days, his body lay motionless, a still mountain after a private jet crash no one could explain. The media called it tragic. His investors called it destabilizing. His enemies called it convenient. What no one knew, not even the elite neurologists on his team, was that Dorian had awakened on the fourth night. Eyes shut, body still, breath deep and measured. He had made a decision. Until he found out who wanted him dead, he would remain asleep. From beyond the double-pane glass, two voices whispered. "We can't delay any longer," said Celeste, his wife of 10 years. Her diamond earrings flashed like tiny blades under the hallway light. "I've already set the board meeting," said Morgan, Dorian's cousin and COO of Blackwell Dynamics. "The motion to invoke the mental incapacitation clause is on the agenda. By next Friday, we control everything." Dorian's heart rate ticked up slightly. Not enough to alert the machines, but he felt the fury. The plane crash had been no accident. This wasn't betrayal. It was mutiny. And Alina Ray? Celeste asked. That relentless attorney of his. I planted evidence. She'll be too busy defending her license to look into anything else. Alina Ray had been Dorian's closest advisor and a childhood friend. If even she was being neutralized, the conspiracy ran deep. The door slid open. Soft steps entered. "Good evening, Mr. Blackwell," came a calm, confident voice. "I'm Kaya. I'll be your nurse during the night shift." Dorian smelled her cologne, fresh, subtle. She checked his vitals, noted numbers, then sat. "I don't know if you're awake," she whispered, "but I need to tell you something. I wasn't supposed to be assigned to you." Dorian didn't move, but he listened harder. "They replaced your nurse 3 nights ago. No explanation. But I've read your chart, and something's not right. Your sedation levels are beyond acceptable thresholds. Reflex readings don't match." Kaya hesitated, then leaned in closer. "I'm not just a nurse. I'm trained in neuroforensics. Someone's keeping you under, deliberately." For the first time in days, Dorian felt something new. "Hope," Kaya continued. "I don't know who's behind it, but if you can hear me, I'll find out. I'll help you wake up, even if it means losing my license. Or worse." Suddenly, the door swung open again. Dr. Volin, the chief neurologist, stepped in. "Just finishing vitals," Kaya said smoothly. "Good," he replied, suspicious eyes scanning her face. As the door shut, Dorian's pulse surged. Kaya was a risk-taker, but he needed her. She didn't know it yet, but he was already awake. And he was preparing for war. On the fourth night, he gave his first signal. Kaya was adjusting his 4 when his finger moved. Twice, she froze. "You can hear me?" One twitch. "Yes," she gasped quietly. "We'll need a code. 1 twitch for yes, 2 for no. Blink once to agree." He blinked. That night, they built a primitive communication system with letter cards. He spelled his first chilling message. "Celeste and Morgan." Kaya whispered. "Your wife and your COO? Why would they?" "Project Halo." The secret innovation Dorian had kept hidden. Tech that could revolutionize energy access in the poorest regions. It threatened every greedy investor who wanted control. More signs followed. Kaya secretly recorded Morgan arguing with Dr. Volin in the hallway. "We need that brain death report signed before the board meets." "She's getting suspicious," Volin muttered. "This new nurse, she's asking too many questions." "Then remove her." But Dorian was no longer defenseless. Under Kaya's coaching, he practiced movement each night, regaining control, regaining strength. 6 days later, Kaya whispered, "I brought someone. She's on our side." A serious voice spoke. "Dr. Nyla Quinn. I specialize in neurodiagnostics. Let me examine him." She worked quickly and silently behind locked doors. Then she gave her verdict. "There's no damage. Someone is suppressing his recovery on purpose. That's criminal." "We need proof," Kaya said. "I have a plan," Dr. Quinn replied. "It's risky. but it could expose everything. The fight to reclaim the empire had begun, but the truth awaiting them was far more devastating than betrayal. The billionaire the world thought trapped in a coma had been waiting, calculating, not just to expose those who tried to destroy him, but to reveal a secret so dangerous. Even Kaya, his most trusted ally, couldn't have imagined its depth. The boardroom of Valion Dynamics buzzed with suppressed tension. Morgan, now acting CEO, distributed fabricated neurological reports, his smile measured. Celeste, sitting beside him, dabbed at dry eyes with a silk handkerchief, an actress at the peak of her performance. If there are no further objections, Morgan began smoothly, we'll move forward with the vote to transfer full executive power, per Dr. Albrecht's recommendation. Alina Ray, the only board member who had worked with Dorian since the company's inception, raised her hand. One question. Why isn't Dr. Albrecht here to present his findings himself? Morgan's glance flicked to Celeste. He was called to an emergency consult, but his report is self-explanatory. As clear as your conscience, Morgan. The voice, deep, steady, sent a jolt through the room. All eyes turned to the doorway. There stood Dorian Valion, regal in a tailored navy suit, leaning on a sleek cane. Kaya and Dr. Chun flanked him. His attorney, Diana Solis, stepped in behind, carrying a black folder. Celeste's glass slipped from her fingers. Morgan staggered to his feet, color draining from his face. This isn't possible, he whispered. You were Dr. Albrecht. He confirmed. Dr. Albrecht, Dorian interrupted as he strode into the room, is currently being questioned by federal authorities for falsifying medical records and conspiracy to commit medical malpractice. Dr. Chun laid out a dossier. I conducted an independent neurological evaluation. Mr. Valion's sedation levels were deliberately and criminally elevated to prevent natural recovery. Lies, Celeste snapped, her mask cracking. My husband nearly died. And yet, somehow, my jet malfunctioned after a perfect maintenance check, just days before your push for changes in the company charter, Dorian said coldly. Diana opened her briefcase and handed out copies of damning transcripts. Here are communications between Celeste Valion and Morgan Wren. Note their repeated use of the phrase permanent solution, specifically in relation to Project Lumina. Lumina, the visionary initiative Dorian designed to bring clean, low-cost energy to underserved cities. The project was a threat to powerful interests, but a promise to millions. Morgan lunged to recover control. We were referring to technological barriers. Not to you, Dorian. Kaya, if you would, Dorian said calmly. Kaya stepped forward with a tablet. On it, a recording of Morgan in a clinic corridor, whispering to Dr. Albrecht, keep him under. Once the vote's done, the body can follow. He's a coma case. These things, they happen. A stunned silence followed. This is fake, Morgan blurted. Digitally altered. She's a nurse, not a forensic expert. Kaya met his eyes without flinching. I'm a forensic neurologist with certifications in digital forensics. And we're just getting started. Diana laid out financial records. Offshore wire transfers from a shell company linked to Morgan, paid to Albrecht days before the crash. Alina Ray stood, her voice shaking with fury. This is monstrous. You try to bury your own blood. For profit. Dorian turned to face Morgan, who was inching toward the door. You thought you could unmake me with sedatives and signatures. But I fought my way through 1,000 closed doors to build this company. You honestly thought you could just take it. Celeste made a final plea, her voice now brittle. Save it. His tone cut like glass. You sold your wedding ring 2 weeks after my crash. I was still fighting for breath, and you were already choosing new curtains. Security had entered quietly. Mr. Valion, said the lead guard. The federal agents are ready. Should we escort them down? Dorian nodded. Morgan turned wild-eyed. You're destroying everything. Lumina will ruin our highest bidders. You're killing decades of business. It's not charity, Dorian replied, evenly as Morgan was let out. It's legacy. And the investors? They voted last night, unanimously, while you were plotting my funeral. As the room emptied, Dorian took the chair Morgan had once claimed. For a brief moment, his face revealed the toll of survival. I thought we'd lost you, Alina Ray said, hand on his shoulder. I would have been, Dorian answered, his gaze drifting to Kaya, if not for someone who chose truth over silence, even when it could have cost her everything. But neither the board nor Dorian yet knew the full scale of the betrayal. Project Lumina had attracted attention far beyond corporate politics. Celeste and Morgan were pawns in a much deeper scheme, one backed by names so powerful, even Dorian would hesitate to speak them aloud. This victory was just the prologue. As Kaya spoke quietly with Diana near the doorway, Dorian studied her. She had risked her license, her safety, her future, for him, but one question burned in his mind. How far would her loyalty go once the next truth came to light? Dorian, darling, you're disoriented. This is all a misunderstanding. A week had passed since Dorian Blackwell reclaimed control of Blackwell Dynamics. Project Halo was officially unveiled to the public, drawing global praise and powerful scrutiny. Behind the applause, whispers moved like smoke through government halls and boardrooms. Kaya stood on the balcony outside Dorian's office, staring across the skyline. You don't sleep much anymore, Dorian said, approaching quietly. Neither do you, she replied. He handed her a secure file. From Alina Ray. We traced the origin of the offshore shell companies. They're linked to Arcanes Group, a covert syndicate of corporate lobbyists tied to energy monopolies, foreign defense deals, even black budget research. Kaya's eyes narrowed. They weren't just trying to stop Halo. They were trying to control it. Dorian nodded. And they'll try again. They're bigger than Celeste and Morgan ever were. So what now? He looked at her. Really looked at her. You walked in a fire for me. When I was powerless, you chose principle over protection. If I move against Arcanes, it won't just be corporate war. It'll be personal. Dangerous. I didn't come this far to stop halfway, Kaya said. A long silence stretched between them. Then we do it together, Dorian said, his voice firm. No more hiding. No more silence. Later that day, at a closed-door press conference, Dorian stepped to the podium. Project Halo isn't just technology, he said. It's a declaration. Against greed. Against manipulation. Against the belief that power belongs only to the few. His words echoed across newsrooms and trading floors, and in a distant high-rise, a shadowed figure watched the broadcast, phone to ear. He's alive, and he's not afraid, the voice said. Then neither are we, came the reply. The game had changed. The players had not. But for the first time, Dorian Blackwell wasn't alone. And as the winds of war began to rise again, a new alliance formed, not just of power, but of purpose. The empire he built would not be reclaimed, that IT would be redefined.